Hey there guys, been a long time, which is why I want to embody this new year, new me, by actually staying consistent with videos this year, and one way to do that is the monthly movie reviews. Now this will be a little weird since how can I review the month of January if we're in January? Well, I figured since I started the series last year but fell off, let's have the first video being a cap off of 2023. With that being said, here are the movies I watched in December of 2023. Love Actually is the tale, or tales, of individuals in London during the Christmas season as they learn the values of intimacy, marriage, loyalty, infatuation, and that love actually is everywhere. Or that's what Richard Curtis would like to convey in his screenplay and directing for this film, as he had full control, but instead this feels bloated, with no characters who feel developed or like they've learned anything by the time the credits roll.
Anything you like, I'll tell you the truth.
How do you think the new record compares to your old classic stuff?
Oh, come on, Mikey. You know as well as I do, the record's rubbish.
I think I'm really disappointed since I'm the rom-com guy in my family, and I was searching for a new holiday romantic comedy that could go toe-to-toe with the giant that is When Harry Met Sally.
Like the other night, I made love to this woman, and it was so incredible. I took her to a place that wasn't human. She actually meowed.
You made a woman meow?
And when I stumbled across a movie that self-claims to be the ultimate romantic comedy, you'd think you're getting into a story that will at least make you feel, if not laugh. The message that love can be anywhere is a hopeful one, especially during the holiday season, though the message never feels genuine, as it feels like you're watching a Hallmark movie throughout the whole thing. You have this whole plotline where Thomas Brody Sangster, playing Sam, the son of Dan, who is played by Liam Neeson, is trying to get his dad hooked up with his lady now that his mom, Liam Neeson's wife, has passed away. And the kid is like 10 years old. It makes no sense. It makes their opening scene as a father and son extremely cringy, as a 10-year-old plays the wingman to a guy who's trying to deal with life after the death of his wife. And the worst part is that it never leads to anything. This woman has nothing to ever do with the film again. Speaking of Sam, this kid spends all movie telling his dad that he's in love with this girl from his class and he needs to confess his love to her before she goes on this trip abroad with her family.
I'm in love.
Sorry?
I know I should be thinking about Mum all the time, and I am. But the truth is I'm in love. And I was before she died. There's nothing I can do about it.
He needs to do this so bad that when she gets to the airport, he asks his dad to strike the airport employees so he can make a dash for it on the plane. This is 2003. I feel like the movie missed its window to do a scene like this by 2 years while there being serious consequences for what that kid just did and the laws the kid has broke. And when this kid does brainwash his grieving dad, who is emotionally and mentally weak right now, following him blindly into his campaign for love, when this kid stalks this girl to the airport, when this kid runs past distracted airport employees to get to this young lady's boarding gate after being told he cannot buy the staff, you know what this kid does? Not confessing his love. It's mind-boggling how it all leads to this point for the kid to go, duh, my name's Sam, you know name of Sam?
Joanna. Sam? I thought you didn't know my name. Of course I do.
This kid completely fumbles the entire goal of his obsession, and the only reason it pays off is because the girl runs back to Sam and gives him a kiss on the cheek as she runs back to the plane never to see her stalker again. It's just not cute or endearing of a plotline, but a creepy one that we should not be encouraging young boys to do, as Sam is portrayed as a hero, not a villain here. One of the reasons I put Love Actually on in the first place was to see the iconic scene where Andrew Lincoln, playing Mark, actually confesses his love, Sam take notes, to Juliet, played by Keira Knightley, without speaking, just music from a boombox and the words of his heart written on huge index cards. This moment though, this huge iconic moment, isn't earned. This is partially due to the overcrowding of characters in this movie, limiting Mark and Juliet to about 2, maybe 3 scenes together before this huge moment, but it's mostly due to Mark being a piece of shit best friend and Juliet being an unfaithful wife. As Mark is not just confessing his love to any woman, but to his best friend's woman, nigh, his best friend's wife, Mark has been slithering in the background of his best friend's relationship, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, which seems to be while the two are married for some reason. Juliet, and us as an audience, learn about Mark's feelings when she plays the copy of her and Peter's, Mark's best friend, wedding day video. But when she plays the tape, she sees that Mark was creeping on her the entire time, lingering the camera on her for as long as he can. Even if Juliet has fallen out of love with Peter by this point in their marriage, at least on her wedding day, she must have had an abundance of love and attraction for Peter. And to think back to your wedding day only to realize that a man you weren't thinking about at all was just watching and videotaping you the entire time while imagining him marrying you and not his best friend, you would be scared and creeped out, not endeared. The most confusing part about this movie is that she doesn't ever express disgust or anger, she never even tells her husband about this, and never reprehends Mark for being a creep. Then near the end of the movie, Mark goes to Julia and Peter's house while they're both home. Luckily, Julia is the one who answers when Mark knocks, as I don't know what the fuck Mark would have done if his best friend answered the door and asked him why he's holding love letters for his wife. Anyway, Julia answers the door and Mark starts to play music and telling Julia not to let Peter know he's there, as he starts to show off these cards he's written on confessing his love, telling her he will wait for her as long as it takes. And the worst part, she kisses him, leading him on and telling this guy to wait for her because one day she might divorce Peter for him, causing a rift in the lives of two best friends. How is this a good love story again? There is some praise I can give this movie, as there is one well-written storyline in this whole thing, and that's the marriage between Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson playing Harry and Karen. And they don't even have a great marriage filled with love, as Harry is sneaking around with his secretary.
Secrets are exposed.
Your secretary is very pretty.
Is she?
Be careful there.
Now, Harry isn't physically cheating on his wife, but he has mentally cheating on her, falling to the wishes of his mistress as she seduces him with sex and convinces him to buy her jewelry to symbolize a relationship. While these scenes are the best parts of the film, and the moment where Karen confronts Harry about his snakish ways is the pinnacle of the film itself, it doesn't have the impact it should. I think it's because at the end of the day, Karen gives Harry a chance to redeem his character because he never fully crosses that line at infidelity. I would have had her rather learn the lesson that love actually is everywhere, but for her, it's the love she has for herself as she stands up to Harry and tells him that she deserves better. This film is filled with stalkers, cheating husbands, and best friends waiting for the moment to steal your wife. How is this the ultimate romantic comedy? I don't recommend this film to anybody, and I have barely anything nice to say about it. I went into this movie for Hugh Grant, and by the time I finished watching this movie and decided to rate this review, I completely forgot about his character and his subplot with him playing the prime minister who falls for the Commonwealth girl, because just like everything else in this film, it has no impact as it falls to the background. It's just a bloated mess that has so many characters that they put somebody who has 2 scenes in total on the cover of the film. That is insane to me and just shows that Richard Curtis had to cut at least one of these love stories out to tell a consistent story to make us connect to these characters.
Seems to me that love is everywhere. If you look for it, I've got a sneaky feeling you'll find that love actually is all around.
I'm shocked I've never seen The Craft before. Not only is Neve Campbell a star player with her performance as Bonnie, but Skeet Ulrich is also in the movie. These two both in a movie in 1996 where he's the good guy and she's the bad guy. I was down. I put this movie on the moment I saw it.
You ever heard of invoking the spirit? Black magic. We can make things happen. I mean, this is it. This is real.
By the end, I knew I had to make a review though, because I was sadly bored with the slow pacing, unimaginative use of the premise, and a climax that can't deliver on the climax part. It stars Robin Tunney as Sarah Bailey. Sarah has just moved into a new house in a new town with her father. Soon after, she starts her final year of high school and gets entangled in a group of witches. The problem though, the film is boring. I don't like most of the performances. There's no emotion in Neve Campbell's acting the entire time, and even though Rachel True is trying to do something with the material and direction by Andrew Fleming is weak and feels non-existent. Andrew Fleming is no Kevin Williamson in terms of writing, and is definitely no Wes Craven in terms of directing, with Andrew not doing much in significance other than an episode of Emily in Paris, and also being the director and writer of the American classic Dick.
Carl Bernstein, Washington Post. Tell me your story.
We, know things about Dick.
What? What?
What did you just say? I mean, president.
As Dick.
It feels like Andrew is stuck in this bad time and trying to write a teen thriller, but doesn't know how to separate it from the generic teen slasher subgenre that was in a dying state by this point in the 90s, as it came out just months before Scream, even having a crazy Ralph character that is used for a couple cheap jump scares. Andrew also isn't able to write his characters with much depth, leaving me to forget about most of them the moment the movie is over. Skeet Ulrich's character, Chris Hooker, is barely in the movie before they set him up as the bad guy who deserves to be drugged and killed because, he's a douchebag? And when I say drugged, I mean Sarah puts a love spell on him that causes him to obsess over her until he becomes violent and assaults Sarah, leading to his untimely death. I would have liked it more if Chris was a good guy who rejected Sarah, and Sarah uses her witch abilities to selfishly make Chris love her and have this be on her own accord completely. It's cheap for the movie to make Chris this horn dog to say it's okay to torture the man. I think I'm just mad that Skeet Ulrich is killed off at all, since he is the only heartbeat in the movie. The whole plot of the movie is Sarah's ascent to witchery with the help of her new friends, mainly their leader Nancy Downs, played by Faiza Balk, who sets her sights on Sarah at first with intentions to welcome her in the group, but soon grows to resent her and becomes jealous as she watches Chris fall madly in love with Sarah, even if it's from the effects of a spell and it's not real. They all make a pact and do a ritual to make their fantasies come true as long as they surrender themselves to a higher power. All the girls wish for things that are selfish, but with goodest intentions, like loving yourself more and others seeing the value that you see in yourself, which leads to Chris falling for Sarah, or Rochelle asking for her bully to see how rotten she is and that she would get a taste of her own medicine, only for that bully to start having their hair rot out of their head. Nancy, however, wishes for a powerful deity, Manon, to enter her and give her all the power she could need.
I drink of my sisters, and I take into myself. All the power of Manon.
As the group grows stronger, they start to do more and more harmful things to other people as they conquer whatever they want. This is until Nancy gets the rest of the group to turn on Sarah out of the jealousy. But why is Nancy jealous? Like I previously stated, Chris doesn't love Sarah because he loves her, he barely likes her as a person, but he is entranced, and by no will of his own, he can't stop thinking about Sarah. If Nancy wanted Chris so bad, why didn't she just put a love spell on him a long time ago? It just seems like a weakly written reason for this entire group to flip on Sarah. The movie is a teen horror film, but the horror aspect is very weak, even with there being 4 witches, Sarah, Nancy, Rochelle, and Bonnie, with 3 of them going for blood towards Sarah in the final act, but not one witch is killed or even seriously injured, and no cool witchery happens when all 4 of these women are at peak strength. The most we get is some snakes and bugs, and that just seems like the bottom of the barrel. Even Nancy, the big villain of the film, is just knocked out at the end and then put into an institution where she'll be sedated for the rest of her life, leaving her to be stuck with Manon torturing her from inside out, or until they make a bad straight-to-DVD cash grab sequel.
A lot of weirdos out here.
We are the weirdos, mister.
The film is just scared to go all out with this concept. Only Chris is killed, and even his death is mostly accidental. The other bully doesn't see a bleak end, but just loses her hair. Imagine if she was not only losing her hair, but her teeth were starting to fall out and her skin started to peel, but that would be way too interesting to see. Overall, this is a weak horror installment that could have been completely different if only written a year or 2 later post-Scream.
The Craft.
Girls, watch out for those weirdos.
We are the weirdos, mister.
I know I said this about the last 2 movies I just reviewed, but hear me out. Girl Interrupted is boring. Is it just me? Am I a bad audience member?
You chased a bottle of aspirin with a bottle of vodka.
I had a headache.
Go ahead, take 1 step and I'll jam this in my aorta.
Listen, your aorta is in your chest.
Good to know.
I barely have anything to say about this movie. It's not even like The Craft, where I found it boring due to its terrible writing decisions, where changes could have been made to make a much more better entertaining experience. Girl Interrupted isn't even that poorly written of a film, even with the clutter of 4 different writers, being James Mangold, Anna H. Phelan, Lisa Loomer, and Susanna Kaysen. It stars Winona Ryder playing Susanna Kaysen, and yes, that's the same Susanna Kaysen I listed earlier as a writer. This movie is based on a true story, an adaptation of her memoir, where she detailed her 2 years in an institution and the people that she met that helped change her life after she downed a bottle of pills at the age of 18, only months prior to her admitting herself into the ward. It takes place during the 1960s, and Susanna starts to go down this rabbit hole during her treatment, where she doesn't know what's real or what's fake, and the lingering question if she belongs in the world of the inside people or the harsher world of reality. The film's overall message of you needing to be willing to help yourself before you're able to accept the help of others and take that first step on the path of recovery is a good message, and one that is completely true, but it isn't enough to hold this 2-hour film. This is a message that's showcased by 3 different characters, the first being Susanna, who by the end of the movie has decided that she wants to change and gets the help that she truly needed to be let out of the institution, going to live a life that she deserves now, one that she loves and cares for herself. The second being Lisa Rowe, played by Angelina Jolie, who is the main antagonist of the film, a psychopath who gaslights everybody into falling victim to the disorders more than they already have, just for the laughs of it. She is a monster who has left the ward many times from escaping though, not from being let out. By the end though, she is showing that she has a chance of reforming. We don't know if she will ever recover, but we do know that she wants to, and that she knows that something isn't right with her and she can't keep going on like this. The third representative of this message is Daisy Roden, who is the daughter of a man who owns his own type of KFC franchise, and even though she has never even taken the first steps to recovery or acknowledged that she has a problem with her self-mutilation, cutting herself and only eating her father's chicken just to puke it up and hide the buckets of rotting meat under her bed, she is let out of the ward due to her daddy's money. This is a fatal mistake, and Daisy is never able to recover, falling into depression and suicide when the reality of her actions are shown to her and she feels like there's no way to escape it now. She thinks that she had her chance and that she didn't take it. She doesn't want to live with those consequences. On a positive note though, I thought Angelina Jolie as Lisa Rowe was an amazing performance, and maybe my favorite one from her. I never thought she'd be able to portray such a villainous character, a psychopath who just wants to cause chaos, as she thinks if she can't be cured, then nobody should. She is so evil that I'm not sure why the film conveys that she is ready to change by the end of the movie. The trauma she caused, the gaslighting she did, to the torture of multiple patients mentally in an already extremely weak-minded environment, seducing workers, breaking out of the ward, causing a girl to kill herself, only to then make fun of the dead girl and rob her pockets for spare cash before ditching the body. I feel at this point, Lisa was past redemption. Lisa Rowe should have been the representative for the failed change and growth that some of these patients go through. Daisy herself is based on a person in the book who was released by the institution, but Lisa Rowe never drove her to commit suicide. She wasn't even at Daisy's place when it happened. Susanna and the other girls were still in the ward when Daisy committed suicide, so they already took liberties in telling that woman's untimely death. Maybe I'm just crazy because this film has tons of great reviews and fans, so check it out and let me know in the comments if it just went over my head.
Lisa thinks she's hot because she's a sociopath.
I'm a sociopath.
No, you're gay.
Uncertainty about goals and a generally pessimistic attitude are often observed.
Oh, that's me.
That's everybody.
Iron Claw is a must-see film if you're trying to watch one of the best movies of 2023. It's the tale of how a father poisoned his own family with the path he leads his sons on as they join the world of wrestling to make him proud, not for themselves. And the sons love their family so much that they stay to the detriment of their own lives.
What do you want in life, Kevin Von Erich?
More ribs? I want to be with my family. You know, be with my brothers.
What do you like to do with your brothers?
I don't want to say too much about it here since I want to make my own separate review for it, but I'll give you the basics. It's a tragedy story that hits hard because it's based on a true story. They take liberties like all biopic films, like not including one of the brothers who committed suicide, which would seem huge, but the story really focuses on the wrestling aspect, and Chris just wasn't in the wrestling industry for too long before killing himself, and the studio as well as the screenwriter thought the average filmgoer wouldn't be able to take a fifth tragedy story, especially because the rest of the brothers get their ass kicked in the film. They are abused by their father, who forces them to wrestle no matter the cost, and won't ever let them show their feelings or be human in the way a man should. Holt McCallany plays Fritz Von Erich perfectly, being this piece of shit father who blames the family downfall on a curse that's haunted them for generations, but in reality, he's the poison to the family. Zac Efron as Kevin Von Erich was transformational. I didn't see him as Zac Efron for a second. This is hands down his best performance, given it all he's got in the set or in the ring. He is able to bring emotion in every scene he's in, either it be from his passion for his family and wrestling, the love he feels for his wife, or the pain he can finally express after years of it destroying him from the inside. Sean Durkin, the director, wanted all the actors to do their own wrestling, as to help show the audience that wrestling is a lot more real than it looks, and the experience is magnified because of that. I know it's just the start of the film too, but it's even more impressive when you think that Holt McCallany did his wrestling scene at the age of 60, and when they didn't have a character who had a major speaking role, they pretty much automatically gave it to a wrestler, as to make the whole film feel just authentic.
The last time I jumped up so high over the ring, and I'm looking at him like, this is gonna suck. Remember, I hit super hard, and I look up, and I see this guy, he stands up and goes, "Oh, now you're flying, boy!"
We can't shy away from Stanley Simons and Harris Dixon either, who played Michael and David. Even though their roles are smaller in the film, they are crucial in the development of our two leads, Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White. and Stanley does a great job as Michael, giving the confident performance that is needed for this quick-thinking wrestler who was the spokesperson of the trio.
We're here to restore justice to the Wrestling Federation that our father built with his own 2 hands. The hands that were passed down to us. The hands that will deliver the Iron Claw to you.
Speaking of Jeremy Allen White, I think he has a chance of Best Supporting Actor Oscar nomination with his performance as Carrie. Carrie Essence is just unlucky. His life becomes worse and worse by choices outside of his own power and cause him to be in pain for the rest of his life, with the most tortured story of all the brothers. I'm sure that Jeremy Allen White will be one of the best actors of our generation and will only continue to grow after the successes of Shameless, The Bear, and now this. I can't stop talking about the brothers because at the end of the day, the story is at its best when these brothers are interacting. You believe these are 4 brothers who want nothing else to become successful with each other, with one another by their sides. They love each other, and it gives this sad story a charm that other tragedies just don't have. This is one of the best movies of 2023 and deserves a watch from anybody who likes dramas, wrestling, or tragedy.
Look out for him!
I just love being out there with you guys. It's the only thing that matters to me.
The Bonner will forever be the greatest family in the history of wrestling.
We're going to this new era of comedies being the action comedy. With the success of films like John Wick, and even from the same vein of Nobody and Bullet Train, I think the action genre is going to switch from the superhero craze to a more realistic, boots-on-the-ground, fast-paced action and great choreographed scenes. And with that, we have The Family Plan.
I need no identities. I'm Bert. Me, my wife, and 3 kids. Have you told them yet? I'll tell them when I'm on the road. Meet me in Vegas in 3 days.
This is crazy.
Oh my God, we're going to Vegas! Woo!
Oh,
Yes.
so pumped.
Mark Wahlberg is fun in this role, the ex-CIA mercenary turned father who's just trying to live a normal life before his past catches up to him. I hope these action-style type films gain a little more complex plots though, as movies like Nobody and this are practically the same thing, just different tones. This film is what a popcorn film should be. It has good pacing, and the characters aren't deep, but each have their own arcs. The comedy is always there, and even if it doesn't make you bust out laughing, you're not actively hating the comedy either. The fight scenes are what I went there for, and there was a ton of them with car chases, rooftop battles, drones, and a lot of cute variety on the things going on. I think the film relies a little too much on the baby for the cuteness factor, and it's never funny once for me, but at least they use the baby unlike a lot of films that have one. Still though, I'd rather they ditch the baby altogether in the script and just leave the main roles to the normal nuclear family of 4. One thing I have to give the movie's props for is a final blow line. I enjoy my final lines when somebody's getting killed, and this movie has one I won't be forgetting for a while, which always brings a smile to my face. This film is playing it safe though the entire time, which is my biggest complaint. It's beat by beat, which is okay for a one-time watch, but I don't see myself ever rewatching it, unless my buddies want to watch a more action-packed film that they haven't seen yet. I watched this movie because I knew my dad would like it, and I just wanted to see a new film coming out in this new era of action films, just like future projects coming out such as Agent Argyle, to see what's to come from these movies. If you're looking for a film to watch for the first time with your family that's 13 plus, then sit on the couch, have some snacks, and stream it, but don't expect it to change your life or outlook on this genre.
Being your husband and their father, that's the real me.
You're like James Bond in a minivan?
I love that minivan. Wait. Go. Mwah! New record.
The next film on our list is Wonka, and it tries its best to be charming and fun, not taking itself too seriously as it plays with magic and goes into song, which can work for the musical type setting that it is.
You see, I'm something of a magician, inventor, and chocolate maker. So quiet up and listen down. Nope, scratch that, reverse it.
But the film fails because it's too silly and makes decisions that are kooky and weird that bring the audience out of the film. And I think this is because the film doesn't know if it wants to be a prequel to the book or the Willy Wonka movie starring Gene Wilder. The studio though really says it's neither, being a prequel to the book and movie as sort of an in-between, but when Willy, we'll call Timothy Willy and Gene Wonka, wears the same outfits as Wonka, sings the same song in particularly the same manner as the original, and has the same factory with the same layout design on the inside as Wonka's factory, makes it really hard to separate this version from the character from the 70s. But then again, it can never be as cruel or take the audience as seriously as the 70s version did, as Willy panders to the weird and magical. He is too sweet and whimsical in a way that doesn't feel like it would fall over into the original. Willy is already in a world where there's corruption and the minds of people are polluted with greed, but even in this world, Willy always has a smile on his face, trying to fight towards a better life for himself in which he shares his magic with the world. I just don't see this man regressing to the point where he doesn't even trust the children he made the chocolate for in the first place and believes that their minds have become polluted too. Hugh Grant is the best part of the film, but that's because I can tell he hates his life.
Did you say yes for your inner child or for your children?
Neither, for the money.
And the bits he does are so dumb that I can't stop quoting this catchphrase. It was so obvious he was going to be a Deus Ex Machina in the movie, and because of that there's no consequences in the film, or a sense that our heroes can lose. I love musicals, so I know this film being one isn't the issue for me, but the songs here aren't memorable either, with the most basic lines that some songs just repeat over and over. The dances and the choreographed moves that go along with the lyrics and set pieces are nice, but that's not the point of a musical. I need the songs to scream the emotion that the characters can't express themselves in words, and I don't get that emotion here. The movie just feels bloated and too out of the world for my taste. Even the poster is this ugly mess of colors with our characters barely shining and taking the forefront, and with the use of CGI in the film, the poster is a direct description of the film itself. See it, but with a grain of salt.
Bumpa, lumpa, dumpa diddy. I'm not in premium economy.
Good night, sir. I am going flat.
I go and see every superhero film that comes out. I'm a sucker for them, even when I know they're going to be trash, like our movie today, Aquaman the Lost Kingdom.
I'm the king of Atlantis. 500 million people from every known species in the sea call this place home. But that doesn't mean they all like me.
I completely forgot about this movie after I watched it. Forgot to add it to my diary on Letterboxd. Follow me on there if you haven't. Forgot to write a review for it, even after I wrote all these other reviews for my December 2023 movies. And forgot about it when I started editing this video. That's how forgettable this movie is. It's no shocker to anybody this movie is as bad as it is, due to the behind the scenes with the Snyderverse being put down like a sick dog. The film went through multiple reshoots and rewrites, with even Ben Affleck's Batman being in a cameo scene at one point, but I guess that didn't make sense to the screen testing audience, as George Clooney is the Bruce Wayne of the Snyderverse now after the ending of The Flash. By the time this movie came out, we can just tell that Warner Brothers just made this movie out of being obligated to from contracts, not because they actually wanted to tell a story. So, they decided not to tell a story, at least not try to tell a good one, as we get an adventure film that feels like we're in the same location the entire time except for one scene, and we get the same villain as the last time that has the same motives as last time, allowing for a static character that us as an audience can't latch on to, due to him being a non-existent character in the first one as well. The only difference from this film to the earlier one is that this time around, instead of Aquaman fighting Ocean Master, this time they're fighting alongside each other. And in all the honesty, Patrick Wilson as Ocean Master is the only saving grace in this movie. His dynamic with Jason Momoa works in very few scenes, but works. And when it doesn't, I feel more like it's due to Jason Momoa's performance as Aquaman. I know people have made fun of Aquaman for a long time, never really seen how powerful of a character he is in the DC universe, and I mean of all forms of DC media too. And with that, Zack Snyder went a different approach for Aquaman. This approach that said, this isn't your daddy's Aquaman, this one is cool, who swears and drinks beers and doesn't care what others think. A change in the character that has been done in essence before, but never to the extreme manner that Zack brought it to the table. And with Patrick Wilson's stoic but naive performance as Ocean Master here being a real fish out of water, it would have been a great dynamic to bring his performance as Aquaman into Justice League or his own first movie. This film is cool of bringing his original colorful orange and green costume back, but I would have liked to see the original character to begin with, especially in his first big screen version of the character. I honestly think that the Snyderverse would have been better with Patrick Wilson as their Aquaman and starting his story as the already established King of Atlantis that they go for to help. When you talk about this film, really, you're never going to bring up Black Manta unless it's negative things. This universe decided to make this character bland and one note like his character in Injustice 2, just spewing threats all the time. His grand plan is to acquire the lost trident of the 7th Sea that perished long ago, which he actually does. This allows him not only to level the playing field of Aquaman and Ocean Master, but it'll also enable him to let the Black Trident King out from his tomb in the Lost Kingdom.
I'm gonna kill Aquaman. Even if I have to make a deal with the devil to do it. Free me from my prison, and all my power will be yours.
The big problem with that is that the movie already feels like it's been going on for 3 hours, so when Black Manta eventually does free the Black Trident King, the guy is killed off in 2 seconds and Black Manta is stopped. With James Wan trying to make us care about the two, as Aquaman doesn't leave Black Manta for dead, the same he did for his father, but it doesn't work. And don't get me started on DC's track record for the people they get to play in their superhero content. First we get Allison Mack, then Hartley Sawyer, Free My Boy, He Reformed, then the infamous Ezra Miller and Amber Heard. At least James Wan knew to sideline her ass for most of the movie, because even in the scenes her character is in, makes me cringe. I would not want to be in Jason Momoa's shoes, having to kiss her. Or what's up with the scene where Amber Heard makes the baby pee on Jason Momoa? First shit, now piss, this woman is weird. If it's not obvious, do not watch this movie. Don't support it on streaming and don't support it by pirating it. Just let it be as lost as the 7th sea.
I cannot believe you let this happen.
Yeah, well, I hate this job.
True king builds bridges, right?
True king builds bridges.
The Holdovers is the best film of the year that nobody has seen. It had limited releases in theaters, so I watched this at home unfortunately, but god do I wish I had supported this film box office wise. The story focuses on Paul Giamatti playing Paul Hunnam, a jaded prep school teacher in the late 1960s who was forced to stay on campus over the 2-week-long Christmas break to watch over a smart but rebellious teen as his parents left him there over Christmas vacation. The two butt heads but must learn to live with each other, and with the help of the school's cook, who just lost her son in the Vietnam War, maybe these three just won't survive the holidays, but can come to appreciate it too.
Sir, I don't understand.
That's glaringly apparent.
I can't fail this class.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Mr. Coates. I truly believe that you can.
His ability to bring this character to life though was amazing and deserves to give an Oscar even more than Rhino did. The story of a jaded old man who finds purpose in his life again in midst of others is a story as old as time itself, but it's a story template that lives on as it's a tale that's told with heart. You find drama and character in this movie, people who have dreams, people who resemble us, not just plot and CGI. The Holdovers is a mid-budget film, and I know I fell off track with these monthly movie reviews, something I will steer to correct this year, but if you remember, I did do one of those monthly movie reviews where I reviewed A Man Named Otto, and even with my gripes I had with that film, if you want to hear them, check out this video. It's one of the only films I remember when people ask for a good 2023 movie. It's because these mid-budget movies, these movies that cost $4 to $75 million to make, like The Holdovers that has a budget right at the tip of the scale with $75 million budget, these type of movies don't have the budget to take flair over substance, so it takes time to build its characters, not in the slow burning way, but just in the way that every scene reveals a new aspect of the character being shown. David Hemmingson is able to write lines of dialogue that weave their way back into the story seamlessly with callbacks that bring tears to your eyes as you just watched an amazing coming-of-age story, not only for a teenager, but for a man in a late-life crisis. I just can't stress how this movie has the balls to do what a lot of other movies don't, which is take risks, make the audience feel uncomfortable because they're throwing real-life situations at us. We're pushing the deep end where we bear witness to a grieving mother who mourns over her son by putting her lips to a bottle and getting drunk every night until the emotions boil to the surface. Mary Lamb, played by Divine Joy Randolph, gives a heart-wrenching performance when she breaks down as a drunken mess, but what I love more is that the rest of the group, Angus, Paul, Mary's date, all don't know what to do or say. They all can't fathom the pain she's going through, so they don't say anything. They stay by their friend's side, comforting her only the best way they know how. It's just so real. Every character in this picture suffers though. Paul Hunnam is lonely, depressed, and stuck in a world that things didn't give him a fair shot to begin with. You know he's not a 40-year-old virgin, but he might as well be one. With the lack of intimacy he receives in his life, which then he projects on everybody else by never expressing empathy towards others. But Dominic Sessa as the co-lead of Paul Giamatti playing Angus is the cherry on top. This rebel who steals, swears, smokes on the school grounds, all in the effort to forget about his life back home, which is practically non-existent after his mother has left him at the school during the winter break, to go on vacation with Angus's new stepdad while he's stuck with a dictator of a teacher.
I thought all the Nazis were hiding in Argentina. Stifle it, Tully.
Angus might be a troublemaker, and yeah, he doesn't follow the rules, but that's not his character flaw. His character flaw is that he's angry. Just like a lot of teenagers that are that age, he feels left behind. While Mr. Hunnam has had decades for the anger to burn out into contempt, Angus is still going through the motions, scared that the world is going to turn its back on him if it already hasn't. There's this great moment in the movie where Paul Hunnam is telling Mrs. Tully, Angus's mom, that Angus is smart. Maybe not a genius, but he has potential, and I just love that. This kid has potential. He won't ever be perfect, but maybe he can be great. This film's $20 million box office is a damn shame. I know it said it had limited release, but it only made $100,000 on opening weekend. Slightly to blame on poor advertising for this movie, as I only saw the trailer play for it once at the Cineplex I go to. I'm glad I looked for new trailers every day, or I probably would never heard of this movie. It's the best watch of 2023, and we all as moviegoers must support these smaller films with buying tickets to them instead of these $500 million films that lose money after advertising cost anyways. If you want a story that will become a modern cult classic, check this one out. I really hope to see more of Alexander Payne's work so I can witness these great stories with an old-timey feel and great characters to see developed through the writings of David Hemmingson.
You're gonna get me fired. This is your Rubicon. Do not cross the Rubicon.
The Holdovers.
Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate the people who stayed till the end. The easiest way to support the channel is by leaving a like, that subscribe button, and that bell button with it. Thank you all again, and I'll see you next time.